Hello and welcome to India Today SoSouth. I'm Gautam Shankar. Now, are Siddaramaiah's days as the CM of Karnataka numbered? Now, the ongoing MUDA case and various party figures' ambitions to continue. Basically, it is fueling discussions about potential leadership changes. And regarding this MUDA case itself, the High Court of Karnataka has reserved its verdict. This is basically on a petition that has been filed by CM Siddaramaiah himself, and he has questioned the legality of approval granted by the governor for investigation against him in the alleged illegalities in the allotment of 14 sites to his wife. This was basically done for a layout by the MUDA, which is Mysore Urban Development Authority. Now, Singhvi, who argued on behalf of the government here, has said that the governor's decision has a serious consequence and should clearly demonstrate the application of mind. And there were several arguments also put forth against this as well. So, Ramakrishna Upadhyaya, a political analyst from Karnataka, has been closely tracking the developments that have been happening in the Karnataka High Court, and he joins us on the discussion on India Today SoSouth today. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Gautam.
My first question comes from what is the kind of arguments that are happening in the Karnataka High Court. Now, what is going to be the kind of impact that we see? The judgment, as you know, has been reserved. So, what kind of impact do you see this having on Siddaramaiah's future?
Well, for Mr. Siddaramaiah, this is the biggest test of his political career. He had a 5-year term earlier, a very smooth term, because unlike other Congress chief ministers, he did not find any dissidents. And then, he was able to complete 5 complete years. And it was a record in 40 years because he was only the second chief minister to complete 5 years after Mr. Devaraj Aras. So, he comes from that background. And then we saw what happened in May 2023, where it was a clear-cut victory for the Congress. I mean, they got 135 seats, and it was a comfortable win for the Congress. And it looked like, he will have another complete 5 years term. But, this MUDA case has come as a big shocker to him. This is something that I don't think he ever expected. And he also, has somehow had maintained a very clean image. I mean, among all the politicians, he has been able to maintain a clean image. Of course, there have been some allegations about Arkavati land scam and other things during his last career, last term. But then, he was able to overcome that. But here, in this particular case, somehow it has dragged on and gone to the governor's, house, so Raj Bhavan. So from there, the trouble started for him. The fact that 3 citizens who made a complaint to the governor, Mr. Thawarchand Gehlot, and that has been taken up by the governor very seriously, and so he should show cause notice. From that is where it all started, and so this case was argued before Justice Nagaprasanna, who's one of the very senior judges of the Karnataka High Court, a very eminent judge, and in fact. He's known to be very, very sharp and, very quick in the sense that, in fact, he has created some kind of a record by disposing of 530 odd cases in one day. He was able to do that, and that has been a record. So he was the one who was hearing this case. And luckily now, now because of the live streaming, anybody sitting at home can watch the legal proceedings. And it was, for me, as a journalist, as somebody who follows these developments very closely, it was very fascinating to see those arguments.
Yeah.
So the arguments began on August 19th. One of the eminent lawyers of the country, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, flew down from Delhi to defend Mr. Siddaramaiah. He also happens to be the head of the legal cell of the AICC.
Yes.
So he was defending Mr. Siddaramaiah, and it went on for about 5-6 hours on the first day. And then on the 29th of August, there was the second argument put up by Solicitor General, Mr. Tushar Mehta. So he was the one, and he also made some very interesting observations. And then on the 2nd September, there was KG Raghavan, who represented the Snehamai Krishna, one of the complainants. And KG Raghavan, I found, was able to come up with a lot of documents which had not been produced until then. After
Hmm.
the second round of arguments, the justice was found asking, where is the needless suspicion against the chief minister? You have not been able to pinpoint the role of the chief minister in all this. Yes, the sites were given to his wife, but how is he responsible for this? What is his responsibility in this whole thing? So why is the case against him? So it was Mr. Raghavan who was able to bring out certain vital documents, I would say, during the arguments, which maybe we can deal with it a little later. So, and after that, it was adjourned for a few days, and on the September 9th, the Advocate General Shashi Kiran Shetty made his arguments, and yesterday that Manu Sungi wound up the arguments, replying to some of those arguments made by the advocates on the other side. So, on the whole, the judgment has been reserved, and it could be next week or next month or whatever. So, we will have to wait for the judgment.
All right. So while we wait for the judgment, Ramakrishna sir, what I want to also find out is, in case the court gives a go ahead for the investigation against Siddaramaiah, what will happen then? Because there may not be any legal bar on him to continue in the office. And politically, do you see there being a demand for him to step down? Because we've seen over the last 1 week a number of names pop up, and all of them explicitly saying that why they deserve to be the CM. Amidst all of this, how do you see this playing out?
Gautam, the argument itself has gone in a seesaw way. I mean, I could see that Mr. Singhvi was trying to point out that there was the whole decision was taken in a hurry, and then there was no application of mind. And he also mentioned about the governor had no authority to reject the recommendation made by the cabinet. The cabinet recommended that he should withdraw the show cause notice that has been given to the chief minister. And then he also pointed out the petitioner should have obtained a permission from a magistrate before approaching the governor. So all these arguments were turned down by the Solicitor General, and he had his own arguments as to how the governor has gone through the entire thing in a meticulous way, and in fact the governor had made notes. In his own hand as to where exactly the needle of suspicion was there, and all that we are asking for, that is the Solicitor General said, is an investigation. He said, we are asking for an investigation under 17A of the Prevention of Corruption Act.
Hmm.
So, the petitioners have not invoked Section 19. Section 19 is for prosecution. So for prosecution, you need more evidence, you need more material to support your argument. So now they're saying, look, there is something which has happened, and there is need for investigation. So that has been the stand, and in that I found that a lot of material came out during the debate. In fact, Mr. Raghavan was the one who brought out. There was this constant talk about the no role of Siddaramaiah, and Siddaramaiah's stand has also been that, you see, these lands were allotted during the BJP's regime when the BJP government was there. I was not the chief minister, so I had nothing to do with this. And this was the land, where my wife's brother-in-law gave it to her as a gift, and then she applied for alternate sites to MUDA on her own, and then the MUDA allotted to it. And when the MUDA allotted it in 2021 or 22, I was not the chief minister, so I had nothing to do with it. That has been his stand. But one of the documents produced during the argument was an application made by Ms. Parvati Siddaramaiah in March 2014.
Yes.
This is an application where she asked for an alternate sites. So March 2014 means Mr. Siddaramaiah was already the chief minister for his first term. He became chief minister in May 2013, right? So this application came up where she said that, my 3.16 acres of land in Kasabay has been taken over, and as a compensation, I need to be given sites. So this was considered, but nothing happened. And she makes another application in 2017, again saying that she should be given it. In fact, the proceedings of the MUDA were put up before the court, and
Hmm.
on I managed to get hold of it and pursue those proceedings. On page 534, the letter says the petitioner, Mrs. Parvati, was informed that she would be compensated. This is the letter written by
Correct.
MUDA. The petitioner, Mrs. Parvati, was informed that she would be compensated with the market rate for the land or be given a plot on a 40-60 ratio. However, she did not agree with the suggestion by the authorities and insisted on being given an alternative land, alternative sites. So this is the proceedings of MUDA, okay, in 2014.
Hmm.
So based on the application made on 23/3/2014. But then it was not given at that time. And then,
Yes.
when we go through the records, it shows the MUDA finally made up a decision in 2021, December, to allot 14 seats, 14 sites
Right.
rather, in Vijayanagar, in compensation for the land she had lost. And on 22nd, January 22nd, these lands were given to her. Now, according to Mr. Siddaramaiah himself, at one point of time, he said they were worth 62 crores. He said, let me be given 62 crores and I will return these sites. What was the valuation of the site, I mean, the land that was taken by MUDA? The valuation at that time, 3.24 lakhs. Now, one of the arguments made is, look, where is the comparison? You take land worth 3.5 lakhs and then you give 14 sites. I mean, it is totally disproportionate. How did this happen? Is it possible for Mrs. Parvati to have got this kind of a large say if she was not the chief minister's wife or somebody very powerful politician's wife? So this has been the argument. And then for Mr. Siddaramaiah say, I didn't allot it, I was not in power. So that doesn't hold good because he has always been in one position or the other. So in 2014, when the letter was written to the chief minister, in 2021 and 22, when the actual allotment took place, he was the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition was also an important, influential, position. So it's not that you have to be the chief minister to allot the sites to your wife or whatever. You can always use your influence. So that has been the crux of the argument that, he has influenced, in this decision. And also, his son was an MLA for the Mysore and happened to be MUDA, member because, being the legislator. And in fact, Mr. Manoj Singhvi, in his argument, said, yes, he was present at the meeting where the decision was taken, but he did not say anything. I mean, so this has been the stand that is taken. And there are a
Hmm.
lot of questions being raised as to, during the arguments, both the lawyer and even the judge said there is a needle of suspicion. I mean,
Hmm.
the constant talk about the needle of suspicion, which has to be looked at. And also reference made to, Caesar's wife being above suspicion. The lawyers love to use this, quotations. The Caesar's wife need to be above suspicion. So it was a very, very interesting argument before the judge, and of course, Justice Naga Prasanna was, patience personified because he sat through all this, and he was so calm and so composed during the thing. So we will have to see to answer your specific question about where it will all lead to. Yes, Mr. Siddaramaiah doesn't have to resign if the permission is given for investigation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, supposing that the judgment says that let the investigation happen. So in that case, the politically it might become difficult for Mr. Siddaramaiah to continue in office because
Hmm.
morally it will be difficult for him, and also the pressure will mount on him from the opposition. You
Hmm.
see, one might argue that in case of Kejriwal in Delhi, though he was prosecuted and he was in jail and all that, he continued and never stepped down as chief minister. Of course, he has been released today on bail after being in custody for a long time. That example is being given. So why should Siddaramaiah resign? But Karnataka is Karnataka. It's a big state with a very very strong opposition, and within the Congress, there will be pressure mounted on Mr. Siddaramaiah
Hmm.
that he should step down until his name is cleared. See, we have
Hmm.
seen what's been happening in the last few couple of weeks. A lot of prospective candidates have come up. I mean, it's not that they've been propped up or anything. And we started with MB Patil, saying that, look, I'm one of the seniors, and if there is a chance that I would like to become the chief minister. And then we always heard Satish Jarkiwali saying that, well, I'm also a CM aspirant. I would like to be chief minister. And
Hmm.
Mr. R.V. Deshpande, one of the seniors, he put his hat in the ring. He said, look, I've been everything. I've been an MLA for 6, 7 terms, and the only thing left is to become chief minister. So, if at all there is a chance, I would like. And a couple of days ago, Mr. Shamur Shushankarappa, who's 93-year-old man, of course, is still strong
Yeah.
and sturdy MLA, he says, I also would like to be chief minister. And everybody says, no, no, there is no vacancy right now. Right now, Mr. Siddaramaiah is the chief minister and will continue. But I think once the judgment is delivered, uh, the High Command will have to take a call on this.
Hmm.
And, I feel anything can happen from
Yeah,
that point of view.
it's a nice point that you made there, because it kind of puts the high command in a catch-22 situation now, because Rahul Gandhi from the start, he's been very clear Siddaramaiah will be the CM. And while there were comments, and also there was a period when it was said that after 2.5 years, DK Shivkumar will take over, but it's still hanging by the thread, and there's still time to go for that. But will the High Command stand by Siddaramaiah here, given all of this proceedings happening right now in the state of Karnataka? Will they ask him, once you clear your name, you can come out of it? But we know these arguments, these kind of legal proceedings do not get resolved in, say, in a matter of few weeks or a few months. So will that be a point of consideration for the Congress High Command?
It will be a very, very difficult decision to make because Mr. Siddaramaiah is one of the strong chief ministers the Congress has, and he's always had a backing of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi very, very strongly, and they would probably feel that this is something that hoisted by the BJP, because they'll think that the governor was goaded to take action immediately, and the moment the complaints came, he set this into motion. So be that we may, but at the end of the day, if the investigation is ordered and the investigation has to be conducted by the Lokayuktha. You see, usually in the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Lokayuktha comes into play. So Lokayuktha will have to get into act. I mean,
Which
will
is
they
kind of
be
what happened with
able?
Yediyurappa in 2011. And
Yeah,
it followed a gradual sequence of events there.
yeah. You see, there is a lot of difference between what happened with Yediyurappa's case and this, because Yediyurappa had already faced the Lokayukta's investigation, and there was a mammoth report of the Lokayukta which was available, indicting his role, in many of the scams. So that was the basis on which some action had to be taken, and in fact, he did resign. The BJP High Command, asked him to resign, and he was forced to resign. So after that, the investigation began, and then, in fact, he was even sent to custody. He was in custody for 3 weeks. So he was the first chief minister. I mean, the former chief minister who went to jail in Karnataka. But in this case, the investigation has to happen, because there is all these documents, but there has to be an agency which goes through all this and comes to a conclusion. So that is what the whole focus is on, whether the judge will see that there is sufficient material to order an investigation. And if he feels that, yes, we need to find out what has happened, and if there is nothing against the chief minister, it is all done without his knowledge, then he might reject it. So in case it is rejected, it will be a different scenario. If it is rejected, then it will be new lease of life for Mr. Siddaramaiah, and all this talk about change of leadership will go.
Yeah,
And
that
one thing,
also brings me to there's just one point here, Ramkrishna Upadhyay, because all right, so let's assume that the court does give the green signal for an investigation against Siddaramaiah, and let's also assume that Siddaramaiah has to step down because of this. Now, if DK Shivkumar does turn out to be the chief minister, will the BJP still see it as a big victory? Because yes, they can claim that Siddaramaiah got him to step down and everything. But DK Shivkumar stepping into the shoes of Siddaramaiah there, would it be a bigger threat for the BJP?
See, BJP will definitely see it as a victory for them because they know that Siddaramaiah is much more stronger than Shivkumar. And if they are able to, if they think, they think that we have been able to get rid of one wicket, the other wickets will fall. So that is the kind of attitude that political parties take. But DK Shivkumar also, as I just mentioned, that he has a lot of opponents now. It's not good. So though officially is number two in the cabinet, is the deputy chief minister and number two. But when the race is open, I think there will be many more horses in the play. They will say we are also ready. So in that case, I think we'll have to see how things go because PK Shivkumar doesn't have the kind of support that
Yes.
across the board in the party as Siddaramaiah does. So it's going to be difficult for him to carry the party together. Of course, once he becomes the chief minister, everybody will come around. But then it's not going to be easy because he doesn't have the same kind of stature that Siddaramaiah has.
Siddaramaiah. All right. One final view from you as well, Ramkrishna. Want to know basically, since you've been tracking the developments in the court so closely, and even the arguments made for or against Siddaramaiah there, do you feel that a probe is going to happen one way or another in this?
Pardon?
Do you feel that a probe will be ordered against Siddaramaiah? What do you see as the kind of verdict that could come from the Karnataka High Court?
No, I don't think we should speculate on that. It is a judgment which has been reserved, and let the judgment come. I think we need to leave it at that.
All right. So not willing to speculate at all, but we've been following the case very closely here on India Today SoSouth as well, and we'll continue to do so. And so for the time being, thank you so much for joining us on India Today SoSouth.
Thank you. Thank you.